What's going on, guys? My name is Chris and this is Palmer Aquatics. I have completely filled my house with fish tanks. We have over 50 fish tanks and it's complete madness. Today I want to do a video talking about Silver Arowana aquarium tank setup. As you probably know, the Silver Arowana fish grows massive, so this is kind of a big deal on how we set up the aquarium. I thought it would be cool to kind of showcase one of my buddy's aquariums. He's the owner of Predator Nation. It's a Facebook group devoted to predator fish. So, I thought it would be super cool to bring on someone that is an expert when talking about silver arowanas. My buddy Rick Ferguson over at Predator Nation is a Facebook group completely devoted to taking care of predator fish. He's going to give us his personal insight on taking care of his silver arowana fish and some of the things you need to be careful with and watch while keeping silver arowanas.
Hey, this is Rick Ferguson, and I just want to share with you a little bit about my arowana here. This is my second arowana. This one, as you see, is a little beat up. His fins are beat up here, and he's got a spot on his back there. I had an alligator gar in with him, and that alligator gar was quite aggressive. People said, oh, he'll be okay. I ended up having to move him to my pond. So, arowana, they're just awesome. They're a unique fish. I decided I wanted to get one because of how graceful they are, how beautiful they are. They just are unlike any other fish that I've had. They do grow quite large, especially the silver arowana, which is what I have. They say that the silver arowana can grow to be about 48 inches. Well, this is a 6-foot tank, so if you can imagine a fish this big, obviously can't stay in this tank. And so he'll definitely have to move to something larger. You know, if I was going to say, how big of a tank should this fish have? Well, if he's going to grow to his full length, let's just even say he's half this tank length. I would really want to have an 8-foot tank or even larger. So eventually, obviously, mine's going to have to move, and I'll have to get something a little bit larger. All kinds of tank mates can go with them. They're really easy for the most part to deal with. You just don't want a tank mate small enough to fit in his mouth. Like the whole end of his face opens up, and he will eat smaller fish. That's what they do in real life. They're known as a water monkey, and they will jump out of wherever they are, and they take like insects and birds and small animals off of low-hanging branches, mainly rodents and stuff.
It's pretty fascinating, right? I mean, Rick has an awesome tank there. Like he said, silver arowana fish get huge, so we're talking an aquarium anywhere from 125 gallons up to like 900 gallons. It's really up to you. Let's keep going with this because Rick brings up a very good point here.
If you see here on top of my tank here, the reason I have these goofy braces, I have a 1/2-inch piece of glass sitting on top of this tank. Arowana are known to jump out of their tank. You can't have any spaces that they can get through. The worst thing in the world would be to come to your tank in the morning and see your arowana on the floor dead. So I work really hard at keeping things tight on my tanks so that even if they do jump, there's no way they're moving that heavy glass off of that.
What he's telling you is that arowanas like to jump like crazy. I see this all the time. I've kept arrows and they actually jumped out, died on the ground. It's the suckiest thing ever. So set up your aquarium, get your adequate filtration, and get yourself a lid. A crazy, crazy good lid, because these things are monkeys. They come out and they just do crazy things. Let's keep going, Rick.
Okay, one of the hardest things about owning an arowana is actually catching the fish and getting them out of the tank successfully and into some other tank. The last arowana I had, I put him in a 180, which is about this much shorter than this tank. This is a 225. When I went to get him out, he was so big, I didn't have a net large enough, so I used a 5-gallon bucket, and I got in there and I gently coaxed him into the bucket, and I put a net over the end of the bucket, and I was going to take him out, and he launched out of the tank and ended up on the floor, and I was chasing him across my floor here, ended up having to throw a towel over him to get a hold of him and put him back in. So it's very nerve-wracking to have to move one of these fish. I would suggest that when you have to move that fish, bring the water right down in the tank so that there's not the chance of him launching out like he did. These fish are known to jump as long, as far out as their body length is. So can you imagine if you've got a 4-foot arowana, seeing that sucker jump out of the water that far? So that's the hardest thing. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would say that maybe this fish is probably approaching one of the more difficult levels. Not everyone can have a large enough tank, so I would say it's like a 7, maybe an 8 on how to take care of these.
So let's recap this. Silver arowana fish tank setup. You're going to need a 6-foot long aquarium. I understand if you're putting it in a 40-gallon breeder as a grow out, not the best idea ever. Plan on upgrading as the end goal here to something huge, because these things grow 3-4 feet long. It's crazy. Also, you're going to need huge amounts of filtration. Tank mates, anything that doesn't fit in its mouth, that's a predator. It's that simple. And also, don't forget a lid for your aquarium, a very serious lid. I've seen people use plexiglass with bricks on there. The arowana pushes up the brick and still gets out. These things are notorious escape artists. So guys, hopefully this helps you trying to figure out a good tank setup for your silver arowana fish. It's a pretty easy, just generic predator fish to take care of, on the realm of that you need everything huge. You need a big tank, you need a big filter, you need big food. You want to play with the big dogs, you're going to have to bring your big game. Does that make sense? I don't know. It sounded corny. Thanks for checking out the video, guys. Give this video a like, maybe subscribe, hit up my main channel, Palmer Aquatics. I've been in this hobby for quite some time doing videos. And also, I want to hear from you in the comments section. Are you thinking about buying a silver arowana fish, or did you already bring one home? Be honest. I know you already brought one home and you're just like, maybe I should research this, right? I totally get it. It happens. Don't feel too guilty. Hit me up in the comments, guys. Silver arowana fish tank setup. How are you going to set up your tank?